So again, just to give you an idea of timeline, this may be happening about 6 to 8 weeks after surgery. Okay, and that's what we call the regular texture stage. So it is really open to experience new textures, a variety, bringing in the vegetables along with the protein. No need to worry about making it soft or peeling. So fiber is welcome, so it's really a new game. So I'm really interested to see what you have.
Great, thanks. So one of our regular texture meals we're gonna make is a coconut curry shrimp. So this will be maybe a little reminiscent of some people like to get, fried shrimp out or coconut shrimp at restaurants, and we're gonna bake the shrimp with some coconut, shredded coconut on it, herbs, and a lot of seasoning, and hopefully you enjoy it. So when I buy shrimp, I usually actually buy raw shrimp that are frozen at the store. And so these aren't huge in size. They're probably 20 to 21 count. I think they call that medium. And you can just defrost them easily. I actually leave the tails on when I cook them, but you could easily take the tails off before you cook them. So I have some shrimp here, and I'm just gonna put them in a little oven-safe dish. And get them situated in there. And then I have pre-chopped up a very large clove of garlic because we know that I like garlic by now. And I have about 1/4 of a cup of shredded coconut. This is unsweetened, so I get the Bob's Red Mill shredded coconut without added sugar on it. We're just gonna put that on there. Grab a paper towel or something for me, just to dry my hand off. I have a little bit of salted pepper, right? Season that. Thank you. And then we want to put a little lemon juice because pretty much all seafood is better with a little bit of acid, right? So, a couple tablespoons of that. Now, I like to put dill in this also. You could leave it out easily if you don't enjoy the flavor of dried dill. But I'm going to use about 1/2 tablespoon of dried dill. I also think it gives a little bit of color to the shrimp. And then this is where the magic happens. So we'll make sure you get the recipe for this. This is a West Indian spice blend that I make up. It has cumin, turmeric, curry, ginger, some paprika. You could add a little bit of cayenne pepper in there if you want heat. I don't typically put the heat in there. But it's sort of a reddish brown color, mostly from the curry powder and from the turmeric. And we're gonna put about a whole tablespoon of this on. This stuff is so good. And then all we have to do is just sort of toss it around with our hands so that everything gets evenly coated. You might have a little liquid at the bottom from the lemon or coming off the newly defrosted shrimp, but that's fine. And then just sort of try and evenly arrange them around in the bowl. We preset the oven to 375 and it's all heated up. So we're gonna put the shrimp in there. As long as the shrimp are fully thawed out, they should take about 20 minutes to cook. And I'll show you when they come out. They start off gray in color. And when they come out, they should be pink and should have curled up a little bit. If they're super tightly curled up, you overcook them and they're gonna be a little chewy. So you probably want to just keep an eye on them those last few minutes.
And uncovered?
Uncovered, yep.
Okay.
So if you can just throw that in the oven for me, that would be great.
All right.
We'll see you back in a few minutes. In the meantime, actually, we're gonna cook some greens so that you can have some vegetable with your shrimp when you sit down to eat. So now we're gonna cook you some vegetables to go with your shrimp. And we're just gonna do a nice easy saute, and I have some rainbow Swiss chard here, which is beautiful. It will come with a yellow stalk and a red stalk, sometimes white. And the leaves of this are quite big, right? So we probably want to chop them up a little bit, otherwise it'll be hard to get them down. I am heating up a little bit of olive oil in the pan here. And we're gonna throw in a little bit of garlic. And then what I'm actually gonna do with the Swiss chard is cut off the majority of those really pretty stems because they take a little bit longer to cook and they can be very tough to eat. Just gonna chop them off there. And then I'm gonna give the Swiss chard itself a little chop so that it's easier to cook in the pan and it's easier to put on your plate and not have to do so much cutting afterwards. We're gonna throw that right in there. Get a couple little stems in there for color. It's gonna be really pretty with your shrimp, and you have the yellow and the pink and the purple. And I'm gonna put a little hint of soy sauce in there. The soy is gonna go really well with the shrimp, right? Because it sort of gets that little bit of Asian flair. So we're making it a little bit West Indian too. And you're gonna let the Swiss chard just cook down until it wilts. In my opinion, you can't really overcook greens when you're doing this because the softer they are, sometimes they develop a lot more flavor. Some people like them to be still a little al dente, so to speak, and a little chewier, but I think for you guys it'll be easier if they're much softer. Just let those cook down. What do you think? You like Swiss chard? You usually
I
use
love
it?
Swiss chard, and I do love adding soy sauce to it. And the pairing with the shrimp, it just seems like perfect.
Yeah.
And I can see how leaving out some of that crunchiness would be very interesting to the palate. You know, and there's something magical about chewing after being on purees and then soft solid foods, and then finally you can get to crunch. So that is a very entertaining, beautiful dish, and you can take your time to just really feel that texture. I like that you can really think of those mindful eating principles where you are really noticing the texture, the color, the aroma, the combination of all these senses in one dish.
Yeah. And so you saw how much we put in there, and this is how much we're left with when it cooks down. So just try to keep that in mind when you're cooking it. If you're gonna cook some for your whole family, you probably actually want to do the whole bunch of Swiss chard. If it's just for you, those, what did I do? 5 or 6 leaves might be enough, especially if you don't want leftovers. So we cook that down. We're actually just gonna let it sit until the shrimp is done. Okay, so our shrimp is all done now, and I'm gonna grab it from the oven, and I'm gonna bring it over here and show you guys what you want it to look like in the pan, right? See how it's like slightly curled up and a little bit pink? That's perfect, like that. So now we're gonna put it on the plate with the Swiss chard, and just put the Swiss chard in the center there. You can see the garlic, and you're gonna take your shrimp, and like we said, these are 20 to 25 count, which means that there's 20 to 25 of them in a pound. So they're all a little bit less than an ounce each. We're just gonna give you 3 of them around there like that. With your Swiss chard, all set.
It's beautiful.
You can take one
Can I
from in
try?
here because that looks so pretty. How's that?
All right, I have a plate right here.
There you go.
Wow, I can't wait.
Careful, it's gonna be a little hot.
All right, and
Use your fork, yeah.
I just wish you could
Smell it. The cumin inside the spice blend is really coming through, and the coconut too. You can smell.
It's perfect.
So
Moist, a little. The heat from the spices is
Yeah.
just perfect. We really need that recipe
yeah,
for your mixed spices.
sure, of course.
Yes.
And it's not. There's no heat per se, right? Because I didn't put the cayenne in there, but just a lot of flavor, a little smokiness because of the cumin. But you can obviously add heat if you prefer heat, the cayenne or chili pepper. And if you don't like the Swiss chard, you can always use spinach or kale or mustard greens, collard greens, whatever you prefer.